Hey, welcome to the Michigan house, to my kitchen. I'm cooking here as usual. If I'm not drawing or painting, I'm usually dealing with the livestock that is our main source of food here. We have here the anatomy of a lamb that we processed last night, and we're making here lamb soup. One of the things that since I was a kid, my mom, God bless her, always had chickens, lamb. Then I studied the anatomy of animals, a lot of zoology, and all these parts became later on part of my vocabulary in my compositions and my art. So that kitchen was also the school, the art studio that later on in life will help me tremendously. I was born in Transylvania, Romania, during the dark days of communism in 1954. I had a Spartan upbringing, Spartan education. I went to one of the best art schools in Europe and had some of the most beautiful, supportive teachers, parents, and many other people that appreciated art, that encouraged me to draw. It became an obsessive behavior with me. Drawing butterflies, plants, people, understanding how they were put together, what made them beautiful, what made them run, what made them what they were. So that's part of the beginning. Also, a very important part of the beginning was the Spartan education I was talking about, involving a lot of meticulous, disciplined, constructive technique building in mastering the mediums, whether it was clay sculpture, marble sculpture, charcoal drawing. We all in that school had to excel in those mediums and copying the masters before we were allowed to compose, so to speak, our own music, our own art. We were not permitted to just free play and free flow with art before we mastered the tools that were necessary and the basics for us to create worthy pieces of art. Places like Williams, like Capcom of Japan, that Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat were created, Joust, all these games. I created jobs for other people. They were basically artistic missions from God, like the Blues Brothers, if you can relate to that, meaning I set out to do the greatest pinball game, and that's what I tried to do with my team and this game, Pinbot, or the following games. Always try to outdo. So basically, it was all something my parents didn't understand, and the world out there. They were still trying to tell me to go and get a real job. Every job, every experience I had made me a better human being and brought experiences that later on in life, designing a pinball game or doing a painting or help me. The place doesn't make us. We make the place. And it's just like I always say, it depends what we have in our hearts. You know, either the force is with you, quoting Lucas, or it's not. The mojo is there. You can go into the darkest situation, the darkest place, a funeral of a loved one, a tragedy, something that was scare like my incident, recent incident with cancer, where, you know, I went through chemotherapy and radiation, and it was a horror movie experience, right out of Frankenstein. You have people run out of the room as they turn the radioactive machine. However, I drew cartoons. I continue to draw and to live through my work. I always say to people, we are what we do. The more I learned about my role models, the more truth I got too. I was always disappointed. But the survivors so far are definitely Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci. Because without knowing, before I knew a lot about them, instinctually as a child, I had the same calling. I wanted to dissect frogs before they told me to do dissection in school, or insects. So I was always questioning, searching. Leonardo, Michelangelo, later when I read about their lives, inspired me on studying not just drawing, not architectural design for structure, mechanical design. That's why I designed pinball mechanisms and pinball games and toys. So I was curious about, the theory of relativity, and I understand it. I am curious. Scientific American has a great article right now on robots, the future robots, and some incredible technologies. So I'm always going to school like they did. There were men, both of them, who also benefited the humanity. They didn't do things for fame or money. You will find in 500 years American artists that live right among us today that no one today knows about. Just like nobody knew about Van Gogh or Mozart in their lifetime, except very few. And even Michelangelo and Leonardo were not that famous. The Medicis knew what they did for their tombs and the Pope, but it took 500 years for them to be world-renowned and appreciated, both by ordinary people. And that's the thing is, it depends. You know, if you do art that's only understood by elite, that's not art. Michelangelo's Moses is savored as much by a truck driver with a high school hardly finished, or a guy with 4 elementary classes from Mexico, or a college professor, a doctor in arts. They both would enjoy his work as much. That's great art, where it's universal. It goes across intellectual barriers, across races, across time. Time is the best judge. Plagiarize nature. We plagiarize each other, but mostly nature. If you look at our technologies, whether there is a submarine and a whale, a rocket and a shark, all the tools, weaving, we learn from birds and the spiders how to do nets. You cannot find one single totally original human invention. In art, it's the same way. In art, we subconsciously copy parts of the designs around us. I mean, look at these masterpieces. And then reassemble them and call them our own. Definitely nature is where it's at, where we find inspiration, peace, and new innovations, and new secrets, and also unconditional acceptance and love. So in closing, all I want to say is remember where it's at. It's right here. It's 99% of everything. It's not in books. It's not in colleges. It's not in the big city. It's in every one of the streets, in the blades of grass. Every critter, every cricket, every butterfly, every bird, every cloud. That's where the future of humanity and our future rests in. So the one thing that I want to underline is preserve it, save all this. Without this, we are not to be. We are gone. Honestly, don't be ashamed of sexuality. Don't be ashamed of being angry. Don't be ashamed of wanting to kill somebody. It's better to, when somebody gets you so ticked off that you draw yourself with a knife, stabbing, and instead of doing it. It's an expression of emotion. We all have it. We all love somebody. We all want to hurt somebody. And so as an artist, your duty is to be very honest. That's, besides refusing to grow up, also be honest like a child. Total honesty is the secret to great art.